Okay, so we're gonna take this flat sheet of steel and try to turn it into a spare tire striker, and we'll see how that goes.
So Chris used all of his engineering skills, but also just measuring tape skills, and has measured off these. I'm gonna cut these off and not explain what we're doing with them, or save it for the reveal.
Save it for later.
Saving it for later.
To start out, I'm using 3/16 plate to try to recreate the spare tire striker, and I'll kind of try to explain these lines for you guys that have seen the tire strikers before. That'll kind of make more sense. If you haven't seen it, you know, it'll all come together whenever I have it all finished. But I had to make this angle. This will be an angled cut, and this is to match the profile of the rear door, so that all of this is parallel to the latch for the spare tire holder. And then from there, what I'm going to do is cut here and here. I'll bend those tabs up and down to try to recreate the same ears that are on the stock striker. And then from here, I learned this trick from, I think his name's Jurista. I think he does a bunch of tool builds and stuff. But I'm going to score these lines here, cut here, and score this one, and then I'll bend those tabs. I'll bend this tab down and this tab back to try to, again, imitate the stock striker. And then from there, this tab will be bent backwards, and it'll get a rubber stopper put on it, just like the stock one. And then we'll see if this is all going to come together. This will be kind of the finished product. Actually, something like that.
You're so smart.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so this is what I was talking about, trying to replicate the stock tire striker. You can see where I scored everything and then bent all the pieces into place. You have to do this on thicker sheet metal that you can't bend in a brake, and even if we owned a brake. But so what I didn't allow for was the thickness of the sheet, so now it won't go over the bar. So now I have to break them off anyways and then weld everything back. So, but not a big deal. We should have it back together here in a little bit.
Those angles are impressive.
Okay, so you can see everything's kind of taking shape. I'm using some old rods that have been exposed to the weather for 2 years, so don't judge me too much. But you can see how I have the ramp kind of like the stock one, the lock for the arm, and then this is where the swing arm will actually come in. And I have a stopper here, and I'm gonna grind down a lot of the welds, try to get some of the slag off there, and then paint it black, and no one will be the wiser.
Nice. Should we try closing it and seeing how it goes?
Yeah, it should. Oh, the bottom's not in. Okay, so here's the semi-finished product. It still has to be painted. I knocked off a lot of the slag from the flux core wire I was using. I've got cheap Harbor Freight wire in it, so it splatters quite a bit. You can see I rounded the edges. I rounded this so that the lock will come up and then sit down in the notch. And so it should function exactly like the original one. The only mistake that I'm not really happy with is that this rubber bushing was supposed to go in here, and me not allowing for the thickness of the metal, I don't think I'm actually going to be able to get this bushing in there. So that'll be the only difference between stock and my bracket, is that stock used a bushing to isolate the vibrations.
I think it looks so good.